Former Clemson Tiger quarterback Deshaun Watson's in the AFC North. Is it his time to reign free as the king of the North? I'm going to discuss it next on the Locked On Clemson podcast.
You are Locked On Clemson, your daily podcast on the Clemson Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Locked On family? Welcome back to the Locked On Clemson podcast, your daily podcast covering your Clemson Tigers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parson, always on the ones and twos. You can find and follow me on Twitter at DP_NFL. I'm a national scout over with the Draft Network, as well as part of the co-host team of the Locked On NFL Draft podcast. And guys, as always, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Happy Tuesday. Man, thank y'all for making Locked On Clemson your first listen today and every single day. I appreciate all the love and support. You're not just my Clemson Tiger family. You're my every single dayers. And guys, I have a great fun show for you, man. Coming up, we're going to get into a four-star 2025 recruit that has committed to the Tigers and on the Prowl. Checking the tape, defensive tackle Ruke Orhorhoro. So we're going to check the tape on him, and I'm going to talk about his skill set and what he brings to this defensive front for the Clemson Tigers. And to kick off the show, we're going to get into Deshaun Watson's path to ruling the AFC North. Former Clemson Tiger. Is it his time to be the top guy in that competitive division? Let's go ahead and kick it off, guys. Listen, we know, for everybody that watched Deshaun Watson as a Clemson Tiger, and we knew what he could do, right? And the famous quote from Coach Dabo Swinney was, "An NFL team is getting Michael Jordan," and the Houston Texans felt that impact. Especially kind of early on, they had playoff appearances and everything. I believe they made it to the AFC Championship game one year, or very close. They had like a 14 to 20 point lead against Mahomes, and then Mahomes came. That was the legacy of Patrick Mahomes was built in the playoffs of coming back and dominating, from working from a deficit. But why, for me, the question, like I said, is it time for Deshaun Watson to rule the AFC North? Is there a path for him to be the best quarterback in the AFC North? I think there is, because even when you look at him during this Texans stint, before all the stuff off the field, Will Fuller, he of course Deshaun, DeAndre Hopkins at wide receiver. The offensive line was solid. It was never, a cornerstone. It was never that one of the top 10, maybe even 12 offensive lines in the league. And he still produced. His last year in Houston, he was one of the best quarterbacks statistically in the NFL. And it's tough, because for me, just looking at what he brings to the table, right? Like again, going back to 2020, over 70%, around 70, a little bit over 70% completion, 4,800 yards passing, 33 passing touchdowns to 7 interceptions. And like we all know, we knew that he was throwing the ball. He had a quarterback rating of 112.4. So the question is, can he do it with the Cleveland Browns? Can he be the best quarterback in a very competitive division that has, mind you, Kenny Pickett, who a lot of Steelers fans are excited for, but then also, of course, former MVP himself, Lamar Jackson, with a revamped new offense, new offensive system, as well as a lot more weapons. And of course, Joe Burrow over the Cincinnati Bengals with T. Higgins, who I talked about on one of the recent shows, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, and everything else. And so this is a really competitive division. And the Baltimore Ravens have a good defense. The Steelers typically, they have the best coach, one of the best coaches, not the best coach in the NFL, in Mike Tomlin. So it's tough, right? It's not going to be a easy hill to climb. But I'm going to tell you why I feel like he can do it. Now, this is going to be the most complete offense that he's had in his career. You look at the offensive line, very strong offensive line, right? This is one of the better offensive lines in football. He has a top 3, if not, some people view him as as the best. He's at the top in terms of running the football, in Nick Chubb in the backfield, right? Amari Cooper that they traded for last year. They traded for Elijah Moore this year. Donovan Peoples-Jones, who's a bit nice, big number 2 wide receiver that can stretch the field, work all 3 levels. David Njoku at tight end. They drafted Cedric Tillman out of Tennessee, who to me was the better of the 2 Tennessee receivers. Jalen Hyatt won the Biletnikoff for the best wide receiver in college football. I never believed that he was, and I didn't believe that he deserved that award. He had a great season, but he never felt like he was the best guy in college football. And so when you look at this, right, like I said, offensive line, run game, a litany of weapons. And it's like, and they complement each other well, because Elijah Moore is going to play that slot role, change of, that kind of change of pace type of receiver where he can work deep down the field. He can work the intermediate, but he also could be your chain mover. DPJ, Donovan Peoples-Jones, can be that big body X receiver that can high point catches at the catch point, but also just work as a possession receiver if you'd like him to as well. And of course, one of the better and best route runners in the game, which is Amari Cooper, who has the size, the strength, the speed, and route running prowess that he is he could be a matchup nightmare one-on-one for even the best corners in the NFL. So when you look at what Deshaun Watson is walking into, and as he's getting better with, in terms of getting the timing down in Stefanski's offense and with the weapons, this shapes up to where he's got the play action game, right? Out of shotgun or under center. But also he has weapons that can work all areas of the field. Guys, if you've ever listened to any podcast I've done, whether for the Locked On Clemson or Locked On NFL Draft, you know my phrase, you know my slogan. I'm offensively, my mindset is simple. I want you to cover every blade of grass on the field. We're not playing any games. No. You're not about to get away with just kind of, you know what, I can cover deep because we're just a vertical shot game. We just have a vertical passing offense, or we're West Coast. So it's a lot of quick hitting things where run after catch is so important, like the San Francisco 49ers. We're not. No, we're going to be multiple, right? We're going to make you have to defend the run. You're going to have to defend the short, the intermediate, and the deep ball. You're going to defend all of it. And I think Deshaun Watson, with his arm talent, with his accuracy, and when he's in rhythm, when he's playing and he's being himself, right? The 2020, 2019 version of him before he was gone for 2 years from the league. Man, let me tell you something. He's one of the better quarterbacks in the league. And we know this. 27, he's still 27 years old. He has a guy at Kevin Stefanski as his head coach, who a lot of people believe is one of the better, maybe one of the more underrated play callers in football. Well, guess what? Stefanski, you're under the lights now. The seat's probably going to get a little hot if this offense doesn't work the way they're supposed to, and you're not calling the plays to the liking and to the strength of your team. So, yes, like I said, if the question is, can he be the best quarterback? Can he rule the AFC North in 2023? My short answer is yes. I do believe there's a path for that. Now, again, it's not going to be easy, but I think that besides the competition, one of the biggest things, I think it was Nate Tice from The Athletic. I think he was the one tweeting out clips from the late 2022 game in Cleveland where Deshaun had to deal with the elements and deal with the snow and the frigid temperatures, and he didn't grip the ball well. There was some ducks, some wobbly, type of passes. He didn't throw with the amount of velocity and zip and have the RPMs on it like you typically see. Right now, this is coming from a guy who played at Clemson, and then also when he transitioned to the league, he was playing in the dome. So that's probably the biggest battle for him, is in those late. And all of the teams that he has to face are all cold weather teams up north, and none of them play in the dome. So he at home, late in the season, he's going to deal with the frigid temperatures. Go to Pittsburgh late in the season, deal with the frigid temperatures. Go to Baltimore, go to Cincinnati, you got to deal with those temperatures. So that's going to be the ultimate beast for him to deal with and handle. But nonetheless, guys, I think that it's a path for success for the former national champion Clemson Tiger quarterback Deshaun Watson. But guys, to win another national title, you're going to need some help. And we're going to check the tape for Ruke Orhorhoro. I nailed it that time. And we're going to check the tape and see what he brings to this defensive front for the Clemson Tigers. Coming up next on Check the Tape. Baseball season is in full swing, and guys, there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, which is America's #1 sports book. Because right now, new customers get a no sweat first bet up to $1,000. I know you heard me correctly. Let me repeat myself. That's $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not win. What do you need to do? Simple. Just go to FanDuel.com/lockedon today and join so you can go ahead and get in on all the action. Now, if you're a baseball fan, and again, if you're an Atlanta Braves fan, if you're a Baltimore Orioles fan, if you're a Marlins fan, if you want to bet for your team or on your team or bet against your team, you can do a lot of the different things that you want. You can really bet on really whatever you want when it comes down to it with FanDuel. So don't miss the chance to snag a no sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. All you have to do is just go to FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up. FanDuel is the official partner of Major League Baseball. Checking the tape, guys. Ruke Orhorhoro, defensive tackle, 6'4", 295 for your Clemson Tigers. You talk about a versatile weapon on the defensive line. And I'm telling you right now, I've seen him line up at 0 tech, right ahead of the center, shaded inside, the inside shoulder of the center at 1 tech. I've seen him at 2 eye. I've seen him at 3 tech, 5 tech, right outside of the tackle. And then I've seen him, a little further out, it's almost at times at 6 and 7 tech. So he moves all along this defensive front. But I'm going to tell you where I believe this could really, like his versatility could help. I think that he can play defensive end in the 4-man front, especially on the rundowns. But what do I see with him? This is a strong young man. He's powerful, guys. There's reps on the tape where in the run game, typically, especially with a lot of teams running zone, they usually try to take, if he's shaded inside like a 3 tech inside the shoulder of the tackle, between the tackle and the guard, those tackles will try to, kind of flip their hips and quickly get around him in what we call reach blocks and cut off, and if the play is going backside, kind of backside cutoffs. And he does a good job in terms of striking with the hands. So strike, hand placement, using his wingspan, his arm length to extend, lock out, and squeeze and leverage the gaps. And what I call closing the door on the running back, right? Because a lot of times, as a former running back, I can tell you now, one thing you don't want is the backside defensive lineman to close any cutback lane. So close the door for you to cut back into. So if the play side, if it's zoned and you're reading that tight end, if it's strong side, the outside hip of the tight end, and it's in what we call hard and soft edges. If it's a hard edge, I can't go anywhere, right? I got to cut it up. I can't continue to go outside because that edge defender has secured outside leverage. If it's a soft edge, that means my tight end has either A, washed that guy down, or, and taking his momentum towards the sideline and opening up a hole for me between, his block and the tackle's block, or it's a situation where that defensive, that outside defensive player shot inside and he just crashed them down. Right. And now the edge is where soft edge period just means that you can go as a running back. So you don't want is for a guy from the backside to close the door for any potential cutback lanes. And Ruke does that so well. Well, like I said, striking, power, wingspan, locking out the arms for those who can see me on YouTube, getting those arms locked out and keeping his eyes, on the football, locating the football and then shedding and making a play. And that's what I really love about his game is that he's not somebody like, yes, if you ask him to, hey, contain and maintain that block, right, and sit in that block, in that gap and have that gap integrity, that lane integrity, cool, he'll do that for you. But that's not all that he can do, right? Because we've seen the past couple of years with Devonta Wyatt, Jordan Davis, and Trayvon Walker, not so much with Jalen Carter from the Georgia Bulldogs defensive line, where those guys were mostly asked to be big, physical, athletic, and hey, just maintain and contain your rush lane and your gap. And not so much Jalen Carter was asked to do that, and he was asked to shed and create, quick penetration in the backfield. And that's what Ruke is able to do. Ruke and Tyler Davis. I'll get to Tyler Davis another day because I'm gonna check the tape on him and because I got to scout him and grade him for my spot over with the Draft Network. So which the draftnetwork.com, go check it out. But again, that's one of the big things with me with Ruke is just the power, the arm length and everything. And then what he has at 295, almost 300 pounds. This man, like, he's not a boy, guys. I'm telling you now. You know what I'm saying? He's a grown man. He's well built, dense, strong frame, but he's got a really quick first step. And he has the hip fluidity to where, just like in basketball, you see the Euro step, right? He can give a little bit of that. He knows how to soften rush lanes and attack an angle just to free up the angle, the actual path that he's trying to take. So if he wants to cut inside and cut cross face of the offensive lineman, he knows how to attack that upfield shoulder, attack it, get his hands on, kind of turn the guy with his hands, and boom, work back inside. So what I envision with him is he had 4 sacks last year. PFF credited him for 4 sacks, and I believe it was 21 pressures and hurries. I want to see those numbers increase. I want to see 6 to 9 sacks. I want to see 30 plus pressures and hurries, because this young man can be extremely disruptive. And with that quick first step, I'm gonna tell you something, guys. It's hard to run in his direction because of the fact that he will slice and shoot gaps so well and so quickly. It's hard for, especially when you're pulling. Man, he's such a hassle. You don't want to pull as the guard that's head up to him. It's difficult to pull in the run game, because he will like in that situation, he'll just drive off the ball and get right into the backfield. You know what I mean? He reads those blocking concepts well, right? So he's like, okay, if I'm left unattended and my guy goes away to the opposite side of the play, that means it's either a counter or RP, some type of counter RPO, kind of play action, whatever. I need to get in the backfield, locate the ball, and get back there quickly, and let's shut it down. If it is a run game, if it's a power play where they're pulling, or it's a counter, I need to get back there and get the ball carried. If it's a play action, because teams do at all 3 levels, typically high school, college, and the NFL, they'll run the actual blocking scheme for a run play on a play action. So you'll see a guard pull, they'll sell the run, want to get that defensive tackle like a Ruke to crash down towards the running back. Then the quarterback pulls it out, and he's got some time to throw in the pocket. And it's typically a chunk play, one of those shot plays. So again, having the eye discipline, which he has, that he does a good job with. He handles cut blocks for the most part pretty well. He's much more athletic for a near 300-pound man than he should be. So I'm excited for Ruke Orhorhoro because he's so talented. And I'm going to say this, guys. We have not seen peak Ruke. I don't even feel like we've seen the tip of the iceberg for his skill set and development. This is a very talented young man. So I'm telling you now, guys, I'm excited to see what he's going to bring this up and coming season, because he's one of my favorite defenders on this one of my favorite guys on this defense, man. And he could be a big time impact player. Line him up at 3 tech, line him up at 5 tech, out as a defensive end, move him around, run game. Oh, you could put him outside. You can still play him inside if you want, but if you want to bring somebody bigger to pair with Tyler Davis on the inside, you could do that. And then you can have Ruke on the end with Xavier Thomas flanking on the opposite side. And then on those pass rush situations, you can bring more speed in on the edge and let Ruke and Tyler Davis create all type of havoc for the lap of the quarterback and just get those guys, get in their face and cause all type of problems, guys. So listen, Ruke Orhorhoro is my guy for the Clemson Tigers defensive front, and that's checking the tape. But guys, you want to talk about being a problem and continuing to get closer to the championship, because Ruke is going to help us do that. Getting more and more prospects and recruits. And next up, we have on the Prowl, a 4-star 2025 QB has committed to the Tigers. So we can get into that coming up next. On the Prowl, the Clemson Tigers are on the prowl as always, guys. You know what time it is? We have to attack recruiting, and already committed 2025 recruit, 4-star quarterback. One.com has Blake Herbert as, I believe, nationally the 12th best quarterback. 4-star recruit, 91.16 grade for them. He committed June 16th, so just last week, right? 6'3", 213. a talented young man heading into his junior year of high school ball. And you like I said, at the end of the day, and I'm happy to see this because yes, we have Cade Klubnik, but you got to think about life after Cade. Because listen, Cade's going to his true sophomore year. He's going to have one more year, right? So he has 2023, 2024. If he has two really strong years in back-to-back years, 2023 and 2024, he's more than likely headed to the NFL in the 2025 NFL draft. Now, what does that mean? Is that you potentially have a true freshman starting, if that's Cade, or if Cade decides to stay for a senior year, he can, Blake Herbert can sit behind him. So when you want to know what does Blake Herbert bring to the table, their scouting journal from one.com, this was posted on May the 15th from Charles Power. Blake Herbert looks to be one of the toolsiest and most physically developed quarterbacks thus far in the 2025 cycle, and debuts at number 66 overall in the updated 2025 1-300 class. The Lawrence Mass Central Catholic quarterback is a big, strong arm passer with high-end athleticism and movement skills. Herbert is close to 6'3", 210, recently posted an electric time of 4.640 in the 40-yard dash at the Under Armour's New Jersey Regional in a driving rain. Whew, okay. The physical tools he flashes on his sophomore film are even more impressive. Herbert has a plus arm at this stage. The ball jumps out of his 10-inch hands. Before I continue, for those who don't understand, that's going to be big. This is off after his sophomore season. This is going into his junior year. And he already has 10-inch hands. He's almost close to 6'3", 210. I'm telling you now, guys, get excited. Get excited because from an NFL draft standpoint, those are the things that they look for. Size, height, weight, speed. Clearly, I wouldn't be surprised this kid gets faster. 4.64 going into his junior year. Come on, man. What are we talking about here? That's good stuff. And again, had the 10-inch hands, which means he's going to be able to secure the ball and not have fumbles and different things like that. If you remember the Kenny Pickett situation coming out of Pittsburgh, coming into the NFL draft, it was a lot of talk. He wouldn't measure his hands at the Senior Bowl, all this other stuff. He ended up having sub 9-inch hands and whatever. Like having 10-inch hands as a soon-to-be junior in high school is incredible. But let's get back to the report. He easily pushes the ball downfield and throws with considerable zip over the middle of the field. Simply put, the arm athleticism looked to be highly translatable entering his junior season. Herbert threw for 24 touchdowns against 1 interception as a sophomore. Guys, that's good stuff. Blake Herbert, 4-star recruit. And if he continued 24 touchdowns, let's say this kid goes out and throws for 35 to 4,800 yards, somewhere in there, right? Close to 4,000 yards, 30 plus touchdowns, keeps the interceptions under 5. I would be hard pressed to believe no one puts him as a 5-star. He clocked it at 4.64. He measures in close to 6'3", 210. He has 10-inch hands right now, right? By the time this kid, he's got 2 years left. Guys, I'm predicting it now. I believe that Blake Herbert will be a 5-star QB before it's all said and done. Before he steps foot on Clemson, on the turf, on the land in Death Valley, before he steps on the campus, if he stays, he doesn't reclassify, because guys can't reclassify and actually enroll earlier, so he could classify for the 2024 class. And if he's especially one of those just highly intelligent kids that's just well beyond his years in terms of school, he's already graduated, whatever by his senior year, he's really not even going to classes, that type of situation, he can enroll early, because there are guys who do that. Ole Miss has a quarterback who just did it. He did it 2 years ahead. He was supposed to be in the 2025 class. He's actually joining Ole Miss this summer. So you can do that, guys. So that's my main thing, is that if this kid stays until 2025, he's going to be a 5-star, and I'm so excited about what he's going to bring to the table and for this team and this offense, especially if Garrett Riley is still there. I'm telling you guys, this man worked magic with Max Duggan, who was a very mobile and athletic quarterback, can run the ball, all that type of stuff. That's why I'm so excited to see what he does with Cade Klubnik in year 1, and hopefully he's still around for our guy, Blake Herbert. But guys, that is our show. Appreciate y'all for tapping in with me again. Go and subscribe and follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts to get the latest episode as soon as it's available. Thank y'all for making Locked On Clemson your first listen today and every single day that I drop these episodes, man. We're inching closer and closer to the 2023 college football season. And guys, we're going to have more on the prowl, getting into more recruiting on tomorrow's show. So just like I said, stay tuned, tap in with me. We're going to kind of take our eyes to the league and check in on some more guys, some more former Clemson Tigers as well. So guys, as always, like I said, thank y'all for making Locked On Clemson your first listen today and every day. In terms of Twitter, you can find and follow me there at DP_NFL. Talk to me because I talk back, please. But as always, guys, come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Go Tigers.